Hi, my name's Ursula. I wanted to just offer a little mini session around the 12 houses in astrology. This is a chance to go a little bit deeper into some foundational material that will help guide us as we together learn more about the galactic astrology. So I'd like to talk to you about the first 6 houses, and then I'll do a second little video chat around the other 6 houses. So let me begin. I found a nice chart called the 12 Houses of Astrology. Okay, so for those of you who are very new to astrology, the first house starts here on a wheel. Okay, this line is called the Ascendant. So when you look at your galactic starseed report and you see the word Ascendant, this is the line of the Ascendant and it relates to the first house. And then we read the second house, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. This is all underneath the horizon. So typically these first 6 houses are thought to be below the horizon, that which is not necessarily easy to see. The houses above 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are typically above ground, easier to see. Okay, so one of the fun things you could think about doing is calling up your Starseeds galactic report and just going and looking at where you have fixed stars and in which houses. Okay, so let me begin. House number 1. Okay, remember right here with the Ascendant. I'm just going to give a few keywords. In Julia's lessons, you're going to find very similar, if not the same languaging, but I'm going to use the ones that come natural for me when I think about the first house. This is any fixed star in your first house, you might want to think, this is the impression I give. It's my appearance, my body, maybe even my attitude or my approach to life. The first house typically shows how other people see me. Again, it's my image, the outer personality. And again, it's the first house is always connected with your ascendant. Okay, so pause there and go look and see, do I have any fixed stars or star family members in my first house? You know, so what's coming up for me is, boy, if I have a lot of Pleiadian with first house connections, maybe I'll look a little Pleiadian. I don't know. Let's test it for its accuracy. Okay, second house. And this is, again, we're going on the wheel here. Here's the second house on the chart. Second house in regular astrology represents our personal resources. What do we value? Typically money, security, our possessions. In addition, it could show our earning and spending habits, maybe even our work ethic. Some people look at the second house for, how do you value your own self-worth? So pause for a moment and go see if you have any fixed star alignments or connections on the second house. Moving now to the third house. The third house typically represents communication. It's the siblings or cousins. It represents travel and short trips. It could represent even electronics, hobbies. And when I think of the third house, I also think about networking. And it's typically early education. So the learning in like preschool and elementary school, it's young learning, and it's exchanging information. So the third house could also represent how we make connections to our immediate environment. So the thing that's coming up for me in this moment now is, boy, the third house, do you have any fixed star soul connections there? That third house is ruled by Mercury. So is there some type of information in a learning exchange with a particular fixed star in your third house? Moving now to the fourth house. This typically represents home, our traditions, our family. It could also represent our inner emotions. And I've heard people say it even represents our private self. What's the underpinning of our psychological foundations? It could also represent the nurturing parent. So the fourth house, I'm going to show it here, is connected to what's called the IC. This is the foundational, the root of the chart. So boy, wouldn't it be amazing? I mean, I happen to have the galactic center close to my foundation. So I've always thought, gosh, I don't really relate to my biological family too much, but talk about galactic starseed family, I'm in. And when I saw it in my natal chart, then it helped me calm down and go, this is why. This is why, as much as I tried to be like one of the ducklings, I wasn't a duckling. I was another little ET dropped in. So that helped me a lot. And maybe that might help you and some of your future clients as well. Okay, the fifth house. Here we go. We're continuing down the wheel or through the wheel. The fifth house is ruled by Leo and the sun. And it represents romance, dating, creative self-expression. Could also be love affairs. Might want to look at your fifth house soul connections. Could also mean creating children. If you're an artist, your self-expression, joy, but also risk-taking. Okay, I'm going to pause there for your fifth house soul connections. Go take a peek and write down all those fifth house connections. Because I tell you, at the end of this, you're going to see some patterns. Lastly, for this short video, we're looking at the sixth house. Okay, the sixth house. So here we go. We're traveling from the first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Now we've made it all the way to this part, the sixth house. And here's the ascendant. This is known as the descendant. Well, the sixth house is the Virgo house, and who's ruled by Mercury. It represents daily routines, the day-to-day work and duties. It could also represent your physical and psychological health, fitness, small pets, maybe even your work habits. The sixth house is very tied to service, personal service, how to be of service. And I'm a double Virgo, so that sixth house to me really calls out, how can I be of service? And so perhaps this is why I'm creating these little videos for those who, this might be your first introduction to astrology. And again, you can read all the material in Julia's amazing classes, but I thought I would just come and do for the visual and auditory learners, just a little sample of the first through sixth house. Now, I neglected to say the first house is ruled by Mars, and it holds the energy of Aries, the first house of the beginnings, new beginnings, the baby, the birth. And the second house, I didn't refer that either, that is the House of Taurus. The House of Taurus is ruled by Venus. You know, everything beautiful, aesthetic. But you remember, we tied the second house to what do you value? Okay, well, that's all for me right now. I'll be back in a little bit to talk about houses 7 through 12. Bye for now.